there are still
I think that's the point,
laws.
isn't it? I think the point is when it's legal, you can see it.
Yeah.
And you can control it
Yeah.
better, and
Yeah.
which means that there's less consequences. There's in a system where we know we have challenges with healthcare.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's really important that things are brought to the forefront. So you mentioned like the two main methods are surgical and like pill taking. The pills come with their own issues and should really ideally be taken in a controlled measure with a professional guiding you, etc. There is an argument that to make it available in pharmacies, just so that you have that, with certain criteria, so that you have someone that can actually guide these people and point them in the right direction if it's not going wrong. And the reason I mentioned that is because these pills are available on the black market.
Yeah.
And the issue you have is if they go down the surgical route, you have people putting all sorts of things inside them. If it's not done in a proper hospital or medical facilities, those things, some of them will be unsterile. That in itself is causing injury in their womb.
Are we not going to see a rise in abortion if it's legalized?
No.
No, this is the thing. Like, you look at the Western world, I know you have to look at the bigger picture, but the numbers of abortions are actually less than in Africa where it's not legalized. And I think this is where I think it's about choice. I think you make it legal, but like Kiki said, the whole point of making something legal is a bit like the argument with cannabis, is that you make it legal, you actually you have more control over it, because this is something that is a very ethical thing. It's an ethical decision for people to make. It's part of life. People will make those decisions one way or another because they have to live with the consequences. It's all very well for the government to say, no, you can't do this, or you can only do this in certain scenarios. But the government, unfortunately, is not going to pick up the pieces for these people. If they have the child, the government's not gonna, there's no sort of, there's no benefit system, there's nothing. They have to live with the stigma, they have to live with the struggle, they have to live with cutting short their education. If they don't have the child, they have to risk being infertile for life, dealing with that, risk death, risk infection. It's just a no-brainer.
Should we not then focus more on prevention?
Of course.
And then education, rather than legalizing it?
No, I think you have to, there has to be, when you talk of prevention, you can't just use one strategy. You have to use a number of strategies. This has to be an option, because with the best will in the world, we spoke about contraception. It doesn't always work.
Okay, but there's a high percentage that it won't work. So, for instance, you're speaking to
I've seen people that have taken the emergency contraceptive pill have come to me when I've worked in the past and said they've taken it. The one lady came like, oh, she hopes it works because the last time they told her that's the result, a 5-year-old boy. So it's for people, like Kiki said, this is a personal thing. It's not, yes, you look at the majority, but you also have to look at people at an individual level and the consequences of having a child when they're not ready, the consequences of becoming infertile.
But
it all ties in.
I understand what you're saying, but is that not the same case as you have a young girl or boy, you give them information, but then you tell them, look, okay, sex education, this is the consequences, this is what will happen if you don't protect yourself. However, should you not protect yourself, you can take this. So in trying to educate people, abortion is bad. However, if you find yourself, if you're pregnant, you don't want to keep the pregnancy, you can go and have abortion. We're not going to push people, our young people.
I think you're being a bit sorry if I sound a bit, but I think you're being a bit patronizing saying that.
Did you say that?
Abortion, it's not, if you know anyone, or if you know anyone that's had an abortion, you know that it's not an easy decision to make. No one does it because they want to. If there's another alternative and they're aware of the alternative before, they will. Like this lady, this example I gave you of people that have taken emergency hormonal contraception and it's failed. And they get pregnant. What if it's someone that has 6 children? Because it's not just young people. It's also people that are married. You know, it works both ways. If you've got 6 children, you're struggling to feed those 6 children, you've taken contraception, you've done what you're supposed to do, and you still get pregnant. I know, I think it even happened with my grandma. So, you know, at 50, she had 10 kids. She didn't want another kid, but she had it.
Doesn't need to come back to education, family planning.
It does, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's a part of it, but it still has to be an option. And when you legalize it and make it an option, like I said, and I keep saying this, it's not, no one does abortion because they want, no one goes through that stress of having it, especially someone that's educated. It's a hard decision to make, emotionally, physically, etc., and there are consequences either way. So it's not all you're doing is controlling it and making sure that people that do choose to have it in a safe manner. That's all. And also preventing, not forcing people to have a child that they can't take care of, or a child that becomes unwanted, or, you know, all those other things.
Okay. All right. I guess the key phrase here is safe.